We turn now to the search for a little girl. Lindsey Baum vanished without a trace in late June, a few weeks shy of turning 11. Since then, her small town in the Pacific Northwest has been enveloped by grief, fear, and an investigation that has touched almost every person in town. And now, local law enforcement has been joined by the FBI, and our senior justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas, was given exclusive access to their search.
My daughter's name is Lindsey Baum, and July 7th was her 11th birthday.
This is a small town living with a lingering, nagging fear. One of this gripped residents here for nearly 9 months.
On the 26th of June, my child disappeared, and with her, my heart.
What happened to little Lindsey Baum? She vanished in broad daylight.
I love Lindsey more than you could ever understand. She is my baby girl, my only daughter.
Lindsey's mother wrote this letter directly to the kidnapper.
I can't sleep or eat without her here. Every waking moment of my life without her is agony.
McCleary, Washington, a tiny piece of Americana whose lifeblood is the logging industry that grows out of the picturesque Northwest. The city had been saturated with media and police as a desperate search was launched last summer.
We need to bring her home.
Was she visiting somewhere over here?
Yeah, she was at this residence and had left here a little before 9:30.
Under Sheriff Rick Scott remembers how the mystery began. June 26, 2009.
Lindsey and her friends had all been playing with their other playmates and running around town as was the norm for them on a summer day. That was the last point she was seen.
So she literally disappeared.
She disappeared completely.
And as the days, weeks, and months have gone by, the trail grows colder and colder. Best equipped to handle a case quickly turning cold, the FBI with their so-called CARD team, the Child Abduction Rapid Deployment Team. CARD agent Stephanie Benitez is part of the task force set up to reignite this investigation.
Our investigators deal with these on a daily, monthly, weekly basis where there are allegations or actual child abductions that do happen.
The FBI agreed to give Nightline rare exclusive access. One of the FBI's massive command posts has been deployed with its state-of-the-art communications equipment. They have activated the FBI's Orion computer system to sort out and connect similarities within the thousands of leads that have come in.
One of the huge things that the FBI brought to the table was the ability to manage huge amounts of data.
Agents are viewing every ATM video in the town in the hours around Lindsey's disappearance, looking for anyone or thing that seems out of place. They are even checking cell phone transmissions, hoping to establish who was there when Lindsey vanished. The goal? To create a snapshot of what was happening, who was doing what at the time she was snatched.
We can start putting a timeline together, and we may see that car and a certain cell phone and perhaps our missing individual all coming together in a certain place at a certain time, and it helps us identify a subject.
And they've dispatched a number of the FBI's vaunted profilers or behavioral scientists. Agent William Donaldson believes the key to understanding the offender is the victim herself.
We'd love to know as much as we can about the victim. Obviously, the gender, the age, and things like how a child would react in a stressful situation.
According to the Justice Department, every year 800,000 children disappear or go missing in the U.S. Many of them are runaways or taken by family members. But within the numbers is a darker, more sinister kind of case. The 100 to 200 times a year a child is snatched by a stranger. In Lindsey's case, the profilers have at least two working theories. The first, she was abducted by someone she knows or recently met.
What's a non-familial abduction?
That's correct. That's a term that we use in an abduction scenario in which we believe that there's some type of an acquaintance that happens between the missing child and the offender.
A second, equally frightening theory, she was snatched by a total stranger. Police just don't know. The kidnapper could have been passing through town, or it could be one of McCleary's very own.
It seems to me when you're doing a case like this, you really can't rule anyone in or out off the bat because the offender may not look like what we would think an offender would look like or sound like.
That's exactly true, and that's one of the problems when you use a term like monster or predator, is because monsters and predators look just like everybody in the community.
The key investigative strategy involves joining with local police to blanket the town in the hunt for new leads. New sites that were not searched will be. Old sites are being checked again. People in town are being interviewed and in some cases re-interviewed. The premise, somebody saw something, somebody knows something.
Were you around on that day at all, or?
The day she was missing, yeah, I was at work.
How did you first hear that she went missing?
Did someone see something unusual that they thought nothing of at the time? Is the witness exhibiting any hint of unease?
Does this look like what she looked like when you'd last seen her? Was this?
Yeah, this one here more like...
You didn't know her other than...
I didn't know her. You're looking for the whole picture, but there are some times when you get a gut reaction or a gut feeling about a certain individual or their reaction to your questioning.
And with all the technology, there's still a certain amount of gumshoe.
Yes.
Walking the streets and talking to people.
Knocking on doors, talking to people, absolutely.
Did you see Lindsay that night?
Here in the store.
Earlier,
She was here somewhere, they were here about between 8 and 8:30.
At the local video store that Lindsay stopped by that day, investigators were trying to find out who was there before, during, and after her visit.
There was about 6 girls together. They came in, walked around, looked at all the movies that they wanted to rent.
Most people are good-natured about the constant questions.
How you doing?
But throughout town, others are growing tired, even angry about the fact that just about everyone in town is being interviewed a second, and in some cases, third time.
I appreciate the fact that you guys are looking for the girl, but it's no excuse to go around harassing everybody.
The officer keeps his cool, calming the subject down, but pressing for more information.
All right, I've had cops come into my house when I told them that they couldn't. They came in anyway.
Okay.
I don't appreciate it, you know.
Here's
for me speaking up right now, I'll probably get harassed some more.
Can you understand that this involves a little 10-year-old girl who's missing?
Oh, I understand that. It's a shame.
It
is a shame.
Can you imagine how her mom feels and her family feels and her brother feels?
Terrible. Yeah. I feel terrible. We all feel terrible.
As we make our way through town, the fear feels real enough to touch. Children are not allowed out alone anymore. They walk in pairs. Parents and friends keep a watchful eye.
If the person lives here still, that predator's still here, and he could do it again.
Lindsay's mother has a sneaking suspicion that someone in town is holding out.
I guess what gets me is, as I know, aliens didn't just beam her up and take her away. You know, somebody knows something.
Somebody out there is the friend, the relative, the neighbor of the person responsible for Lindsay's disappearance.
We're going to consider everyone. We're going to take a good, hard look at everyone.
After talking with more than 2/3 of the town's population, sources tell ABC News that police have identified roughly a dozen persons of interest, living both in and outside of McCleary, at least 2 of whom are of high interest. And all that technology has helped them establish a much more detailed picture of who was in town at the time. While an arrest may not be imminent, police are hopeful. As for Lindsay's mom, she works every day to find her daughter, and she waits.
I really don't care who you are. I just want my Lindsay back safely.
For Nightline, I'm Pierre Thomas, McCleary, Washington.